Hello, Nebraska. This is Rod with your Week 2 NFOA Weekend Update. What happened last week, and what can you expect next week? Well, this past week, we had one new bill that was introduced and a couple heard on the floor. The new bill that was introduced is LB 902, introduced by Senator Bosselman. This is not really a new topic. This is something that was introduced last year as LB 637 and failed to get out of the Judiciary Committee. He reintroduced this and made some minor changes to it so that he could reintroduce this, and it got directed to the Government Affairs Committee, which is far more friendly to firearms rights. This is actually scheduled for this coming Thursday, the 18th of January already, for the hearing. This particular bill is intended to protect your information, your privacy, related to permits and permit applications, anything firearms related that there may be in public records. It's intended to protect the privacy of that information and prevent its release to media or other groups that may try to use that in a bad way. So on to the bills that were heard on the floor. We had two bills that were heard on the floor this week. LB 81, the Carol Blood bill that was trying to increase the purchase certificate cost by 500%, that got killed. There was a lot of debate on the floor, pretty heated debate from a few folks, and ultimately we had Senator Larson introduce a floor amendment to indefinitely postpone the bill. And that passed 27-17. If you go to the Nebraska Legislature.gov website, you can look up the bill and you can look at the voting record to see who voted which way. Quick little tip, if you want to look up any of the bills that are being heard in the legislature, firearms or otherwise, don't use a search engine. I think you're going to get better results by going to nebraskalegislature.gov. In the upper right-hand corner is a way to search for the bills, and search for it there. The reason for that, every session, every 2-year cycle, they reuse the same bill numbers. So if, for example, you looked up LB 430, I don't know what that is for this year, but that was a popular bill back in 2009. You're going to come up with, in the second result of that search, is the link to the bill from 2009. Search engines look at popularity, and these bills are too new to rise to the top of the search results. So if you're looking for a particular bill, a search engine is probably not going to give you the results you're looking for, and you'll be confused as to why the subject matter is different than what we're talking about. Okay, moving on. The next bill that was heard and debated on the floor is LB 321. That was a bill that Senator Lowe introduced for the purpose of allowing collegiate teams that aren't rifle teams to be able to store their firearms on campus. Shotgun sports is becoming very popular at a collegiate level now in Nebraska, and we don't have those protections. This certainly, all it does is give strikes the word rifle from rifle teams so that it becomes all collegiate shooting sports teams. That's not the exact language, but that's the intent. There is word that they're going to have a couple of amendments that exactly spell that out, to say that it's a collegiate sponsored shooting team or some similar verbiage, so that it's not exactly vague by removing the word rifle and just leaving the word team. The time that was allotted for debate was all wasted by Ernie Chambers. He wasted the last of the 3 hours of debate immediately after the governor's State of the State address. And he wasn't real happy with the results of LB 81. He wasn't real happy with the governor, and he wanted to spend his time bloviating over whatever he does. So the time was spent, and it's pretty much done for now. It's going to come back up on the calendar sometime in a week or two. We don't know exactly when, but it'll be several days at least before it comes back up. They'll get those amendments attached, and we expect that this is going to pass through first round debate and continue on. It really hasn't been a controversial bill. It's just Ernie Chambers has decided he wanted to use time, spend as much time, waste as much time, however you look at it, and use this bill to do that. What else is coming up? Well, we have some hearings already. We have LB 780, the anti-gun bill, anti-suppressor bill from Pansing Brooks. That is scheduled for January 25th. That's going to be in the Judiciary Committee. The hearing is going to be at 1:30 in the afternoon. I really hope that as many people as possible can just pack the Capitol. I would love to see every hall of the first floor of the Capitol packed. If you own a suppressor, if you care at all about this bill, please make every attempt to take the afternoon off of work and show up at the state capitol and fill the halls. We need to put pressure on all the senators and let them know this is unacceptable. We also have LB 848 and 849, which were some cleanup bills introduced by Senator Ebke. 848 is going to be heard on the 19th. I think I mentioned last week, that's a bill that adds the word "or" in between three different disqualifying factors. It was an omission originally, so they're cleaning that up. And 849 is intended to, what was that one again? 849. That's the one that's supposed to help out concealed handgun permit holders who have had a situation where law enforcement has taken possession of your handgun. Maybe it was a medical emergency, and it could be any number of things, but they came across your firearm. This would specify that they must release it back to you. We've had a lot of horror stories shared with us where law enforcement has jerked people around for weeks or months refusing to return that firearm, and for no good reason other than, well, they have a process. We need to hear your stories. Have you been jerked around? Have you had a situation where law enforcement wouldn't return a lawfully owned firearm to you? Please share these stories. We've heard a lot of them, but we're going to need to have your stories to share with the senators to be able to justify improving some of these laws to try to alleviate this issue. And again, that 849, that will be heard on the 25th of January. That's all I've got for this week. Stay tuned. I'll be doing this each week. Let me know. Give us some feedback as to things you'd like to see different, things you'd like to see included in the weekly updates, and we'll be happy to try to incorporate those suggestions. All right, Nebraska, take care.